Hey, this is Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and in this episode, I'm going to be tackling Hot Wheels Deora 3. Now, I was a big fan of the Deora 1 and the Deora 2, but the third one is definitely lacking. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this casting, but I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and do some of these castings that I normally wouldn't ever do. Mainly because I just don't like the style, or I'm kind of hung up on the old school look of these remakes. So after drilling it out and taking it apart, I definitely liked it even less. But that's why we're doing this. So after popping the wheels out and opening up the tabs so I can stick in some of my own wheels, because that's obviously the first step. I mean, you can take any car and put cool wheels on it and make it look better. But this definitely needed more than just wheels. So initially, I have the same size front and rear, just like the original casting here. And I will change that at some point during the course of the build, making much more work for myself. So I've got this Benchwork Toys blown motor that I want to add to it. So I've got to get rid of the faux surfboard, and I'm not a fan of the detail that's on the motorbike. So I'm going to cut it off right after the front wheel wells, because I don't need any of these parts whatsoever. So here I'm just kind of mocking it up a little bit. I'm going to have to trim more to get the motor to sit in exactly where I want it to. And I like the idea of a mid-engine Deora. I just think it kind of, the Deora is based off of, a custom car from the 60s or late 60s, early 70s. So I just thought the mid-engine looked kind of cool, and that's what I was going after. And the space lends itself, obviously, for a big motor. So after some trimming, I get the motor to fit exactly where I want it. Just got to clean up. I know I use a Dremel tool way too often. I'm always in a hurry, so it's just faster than the coping saw or the jeweler's saw. So I got a piece of sheet metal that I'm going to stick on the bottom as my base, and I'm going to leave it that color because it just adds again to the showmanship of the actual custom look to this. Then I want to add some exhaust tips. I've been using these ferrules. I've got tons of them, and I'm just going to drill 2 holes all the way through in the back between the baffles. I just think it looks cool and adds a little bit of depth to the actual finished casting. So after stripping it with the citrus strip, I'm going to use a wire brush attachment to get this as clean as I can, even though I'm going to end up priming it twice. Which leads me to this. I wanted a spoiler on the back. So I picked up some new Milliput because the stuff I had I'd bought when I first started, and it was pretty beat up. Not a fan. I like it. I didn't like I just didn't like the way it looked on the casting with the spoiler, and I know I could have done more work to it, but I'm not a sculptor. I'm not one of those guys that's going to make, wide body kits and stuff like that. I want to. I just got to get my skill set up there. But for now, I leave it on, and I'm going to end up priming. So here's where I start to decide to go with a bigger tire in the rear to give it a little bit of a stance. But as usual, to put a bigger tire, you have to do some modifications. So I'm going to narrow the rear end, or the chassis of the rear end, and that'll allow the wheel to fit in that way, leaving the body casting to be the next step, because the wheel wells, both inner and the diameter, were just a little too big, so I have to grind that out. It just take, I say, a little bit of casting out, but you can see right here it's quite a bit. But it works out. Eventually I get it to the point where the wheels can roll, and I didn't blow through anywhere, which is important. And here the spoiler is still on. I'm going to end up going with a piece of styrene. Here you can see I'm getting ready to prime it. It still looks like crap. I don't know why I bothered to prime it, but I ended up stripping it again, putting a styrene spoiler. And now I'm going with the Tropical Glitz Galactic Silver. And this is going to be a base coat over the primer. And this is my first time using Tropical Glitz products. It's a ready-to-spray product. And coming from somebody who uses the splash paints, which is also ready to spray, I really, really enjoyed this. It was simple. I just shake up the thing and put it in, and it goes on a little heavier than I thought, so I end up adjusting my gun a few times, but it really went on nice, especially with some flake in it. Didn't clog the gun. It was easy to clean. You know, whatever I didn't use, I could dump back in because I didn't have to mix it with anything. So there's no waste. I really, really enjoyed how it went on. You can see right here, it just goes on beautifully. So next up will be the next coat, and this went on just as easy. And I would say it's a candy, but you can definitely alter the color by how many coats you put on. No different than, let's say, a Spectra Flame. Obviously, the more coats you put on, the heavier it'll get and the darker it'll look. I wanted a darker look, so I'm going to put 2 or 3 coats on, but each coat went on beautifully. Once again, I'm ecstatic about this product, and they give you a lot, so you don't use much. It's going to last me quite a while. It'll probably go bad before I finish using it. So I'm really, really happy with the way this stuff came out, and it really gave me the look I'm looking for. I've got a few other cans, or not cans, but bottles of this that I'm going to be using in upcoming projects, and I can't wait because it's just really, really good stuff, and I'm looking forward to using it and getting more. Speaking of new paints, I picked up the Army Painter Fanatic series. I did get the smaller kit. I love this stuff. I can't say enough about the pigment that's in it. It just goes on smooth. You don't have to do 5 coats. You know, it goes on good the first time. And there's quite a lot to choose from the way their system is set up. So if you paint miniatures or anything like that, that's definitely worth the money to get the kit. I really, really like it. So that's just my take on it. And between that and the speed paints, I'm good. I'm good for a while. I'm not using the Citadel paints anymore. I know you guys want to hear me probably say Lead Belcher one more time, but that'll probably be the last time I say it. So here, obviously, I'm just using a time lapse because watching me paint is probably super exciting. But I also painted the interior the same color as the car, figuring I can detail it because I wanted those wheel wells for the front to really be the same color. And then I thought the more I painted, looked at it, I want the seats, parts of the seats to look the same. So I just thought it added a little bit to it and kind of kept the theme going. Personal preference, but that's just the way I liked it. To get the small details inside, I use this panel liner. And this stuff, if you guys haven't tried it, use it. It's from Tamiya. You just touch it in the right spots, and it just goes in all the little nooks and crannies, and it makes your life a lot easier, and you're not making a mess. So, and it wipes up easy if you make a mistake. So that's pretty much where I'm at. This is what I have. These are the pieces, parts ready to go together. And if you recall, again, this is not really horrible, but I just don't like all the plastic gadgets that are inside of it. It's just not a big fan of it. And this is the final look. This is with 3 coats of 2K clear over the Tropical Glitz with the Krager style raised white letter tires, the Real Riders. I hope you like it. I like it. I know it's kind of a quick video, and I know I didn't do a ton to this, but I don't think it needed a lot. It just needed just 1 or 2 things to push it over the edge for me to actually enjoy the casting. And I think I accomplished that, at least in my opinion. So I want to thank you for watching, and stay tuned. I got a lot of cool stuff coming up on the channel. So if you're a first-time subscriber, thanks for watching. Consider hitting the subscribe button. Other than that, if you're a long-time listener, first-time caller, thanks for sticking around. I'll catch you on the next one.